Hi, I'm keeping up with it. Um, Today is the 4th. Yes, today is the 4th. Anyway, today was a little interesting. I was a good girl. I went to the gym first thing in the morning, didn't I? This time I managed 4 miles. It took me forever, but I got it done. And of course, I'm all sweaty and gross and everything. Ended up watching The Mummy in the process. My gym, the new gym that I'm starting to go to, has a movie theater where with the elliptical equipment, the treadmills, bikes, all that kind of stuff. So you can do your workout while you're watching a movie. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, so after I got done with that, my son took me to the hospital for an ultrasound. I had an appointment, and I have a thyroid thing, so I had to go in to get that done. And I have a thyroid doctor that I'm going to see in a couple of weeks, so I had to get it done early. Yeah, details. The reason why I'm telling you all of that is because after I got done with the appointment, I called my son and I says, "Okay, I'm ready." He says, "Okay, I'll meet you out where I dropped you off." I was like, "Okay." I go out there and there's these geese just hanging out, doing their thing, and I'm sitting out there. I haven't eaten anything because I didn't want to mess up, the results. So I had my little cup of chopped up apples and strawberries in it, and I pull one out and I start eating it, and these geese, or this one goose, comes up to me like, "Hi, can I have some of that?" And first I gave him just a slice, and it was obviously too big, and he said, "I don't want that." So he walked away. So I picked it up and broke it up into little tiny pieces. And later on, he turns around and looks at me kind of sideways, like, maybe this time. And he came up and he had some of my apple. And then his friend, which I presume was the lady friend, because, coloring's all different. And the other one was a little more leery, and then I started tossing to him. And before long, they were eating right out of my hand. And they kind of bit, but it was one of those, it didn't really hurt type of thing. So when my son drove up, I got these two geese just literally eating apple pieces out of my hand. I don't know if it was legal there or not. Some people go crazy. I was a little worried about it. Because you really shouldn't feed wildlife, but they wanted my apple while I'm eating it, so I didn't fight sharing it. If I'm sharing it, so what? So that was a neat experience. I thought that was really, really, really awesome. And then came home and I scrubbed the bathroom spotless. I scrubbed in here, mostly the floor. See, I got a nice clean floor. It wasn't clean before. And I did some shaving on her. She's got a big old patch. I don't know if you can see it on her. So we turn the light this way. She's got a big old patch right here. She had the biggest knot. She's still got quite a bit of knots. Big old knot about this big here. If I can feel it. Yeah, it's about like that big. So she won't let me what do you call it? She won't let me brush her. She won't let me comb her. So she ends up with these great big knots that are just horrible to deal with. And try and get that light not to shine right in my eye. So these big old knots form in her fur, and she's got, of course, a very fuzzy, 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 fuzzy cat. And if you don't brush her on a constant basis, it builds up. So believe it or not, she lets me take an electric razor and shave her. So I took out about that much. I have a strange relationship with my cat. So, and then I watched an interesting thing on YouTube where 4 police officers arrested a post office employee who was delivering packages and mail and all that kind of stuff, doing his job. And the funny thing is the cops uh, almost hit his car, and he's like, "Hey, dude, watch it," that kind of thing. And so they all came up, started, you know, bullying him, and, well, get your ID. Well, I can't get my ID because it's in the truck. Well, we are not going to let you get your ID, and so they gave him all kinds of harassments, and then finally decided to arrest him. And then you got four people pushing against you, and they said, "Stop resisting," and he goes, "I'm not resisting, I'm falling." When people are pushing around, you fall. And then what got me is I saw another video where I guess it was his lawyer, was talking, and his issue was, after all of this, he was arrested, and even at that, he wasn't technically arrested. They just said he was arrested. Then they said that he was resisting arrest when he wasn't. It was, of course, everything's on video. And they left the truck, the post office truck, wide open, sitting in the middle of the street. Nobody securing it. They wouldn't let the guy call his boss to tell him that the truck was there. Detained him for a couple of days. And the part that got me, and then they handcuff him, they pat him, searched him. I want to say the right word. They searched him, which they didn't have a legal right to do. And when they put him in the car, they bumped his head. They get him in the car. They don't buckle him in. All these people are in the car. They take off, and then what do? They get into a car accident. They ran into somebody else, and the prisoner ends up hurt in the accident. And somehow that's his fault. It just went from bad to worse. And then, of course, they didn't file the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. I was talking to my son. The problem with police, and mind you, I have a deep respect for police. They have a very tough job. It's when you got the morons that drive me crazy. And I've had to deal with them, a few of them, and I've put them in their place. But the thing is you got to do it the right way. And this guy handled it the right way, as the cops were stupid. And according to my son, the job of a police officer is just collect everybody and take them down to the station and let them sort it out over there. And the problem is sometimes the police officers, in truth, police officers just don't know the law. They just know their job is to keep the peace, not so much as they actually know the law. And there are rules that they have to follow, whether or not they want to. And when you're dealing with them, I've talked to a few. Be polite, be understanding. It's like, if you can search my car, but one, I know there's nothing in here, and two, you'd have to talk to my lawyer about that. Sorry, that kind of thing. But be respectful about it. A lot of times it's no big deal. I had one cop who wanted my driver's license. He was like, "Give me your ID, whatever." I says, "You first." Because I was reporting him. I needed his information to find out what I was going to do with him. And because he was breaking all kinds of rules. I says, "Fine, you first. I want your ID first." So, and he gave it to me. And yeah, he was dealt with. Let's just say he's not going to be anybody's problem as a police officer anymore. But yeah, it's hard. Of course, this person was in New York, and they profile. I don't care who you are. If you're black, you're in trouble. It's just all there is to it. And that was one thing I was telling my son. It's like, we don't have that kind of problem here, on the most part. I did have one officer. Never want him in my house. I don't care what it is. I even talked to the police station, and they said, if he shows up over here, I don't have to let him in my house for any reason. If he has a search warrant, fine, give it to somebody else. But I don't want him in my house ever. And the big reason why is because I found out he lied. He wouldn't know the truth if I came up and slapped him. I don't deal with liars. That's all there is to it. But most of the officers that I've dealt with are great people. And I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for this crazy world. I'm finding out all kinds of weird stuff on the news. I don't want to get into it because it's all political. I don't do politics. It's just, it gets ugly. So, anyway, I think I'll go back and find some geese to feed. It sounds like fun. Good night.